Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we finally have the patch notes, guys. The update notes are officially here for the second anniversary update 3.0 for Marvel Future Fight, guys. But before we jump into exactly what is being said, I want to let you guys know that I'm doing a special marathon live stream starting at 9 a.m. Korea Standard Time or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can calculate what time it is in your time zone. We're going to start when the game goes on maintenance. We're going to play some other games, and then when the game drops, guys, we're going to be there. We're going to be there first, baby, and we're going to be there the longest and the most and the hardest and the biggest and all that good stuff. So I would implore all of you guys to come and check that out. We had so much fun last time with the big update. This one is going to be humongous what? So let's jump into it, guys. We got 3 new characters. Agent Venom is the first one. We had some leaks, some teased images yesterday, and they were in fact correct. He seems to be a pretty decent combat superhero. Remember that? Agent Venom is not a villain, so he's not going to compete with Carnage as a villain, but he is going to compete with Carnage as a paywall character. He is only obtainable through the bio subscription, which costs money. His Venom Frenzy passive is pretty good. When he attacks, it buffs basically like most of his stats, but it's more interesting. Space Knight, his tier 2 passive, gives him crit rate and crit damage, but it also increases the effect of Venom Frenzy. We don't know what that increase is, but I have heard some whispers that includes a heal. So if it includes a heal, that would make him a much tankier character, but that's not all. He also has 2 skills that increase his survivability. Thorn Shield, although it doesn't reflect, gives a 5 guard hit for 5 seconds. That's at level 1 with a 7.5 second cooldown at max skill cooldown. And then Symbiote Rage applies a 2-second stun to the enemy and a 5-second invincibility to Agent Venom. Now 5 seconds of invincibility is very similar to Carnage's 6 seconds of invincibility, so he sounds like he's a tankier version of Carnage. That's how you can kind of think of him. We also do have Venom Lash, which appears to be a web attack, and maybe perhaps Venom Swing will also see some webbing from Venom. So very excited about this character. Looks to be very interesting and quite cool. Mantis, although many speculated she would be speed, is actually blast. Her leadership's just whatever. Her self-healing passive is interesting. It recovers 5% of her max HP over 3 seconds, or is that 5% every second for 3 seconds? I'm not yet clear on that. Could be either pretty good or extremely broken, and that is when HP is below 90%, like Gwenpool. So she's going to be pretty hard to kill if you know how to kite. Her tier 2 passive is pretty good. Everybody on the team gets crit damage 20% and 15% ignore defense. That's not necessarily better than someone like Coulson for Extreme Alliance Battle, but it could be more useful for newer players who don't have Coulson, but who need that ignore dodge and the crit damage for their Doctor Strange scores. Then she just has your run-of-the-mill attacks. She's got one that increases her dodge rate and for all allies, and then one that increases crit rate for all allies. We're going to have to see what kind of iframes she's working with, because otherwise it's kind of vanilla. Whiplash is kind of the big surprise, small surprise I would say, of this update. He's from Marvel Iron Man 2. That movie's a long time ago, and this doesn't really look like Mickey Rourke, but that's okay. His leadership is just the skill cooldown 1. He deals more damage to machine type characters, but there's no good machine type characters in the game right now. And then his tier 2 passive is quite strong, actually. 4 different boosts, so that's pretty good. And then he's got not 1, not 2, but 3 CC skills. So a 3-second bind, a 3-second bind, and a 1-second stun with chance to penetrate. I'm assuming that 1 second goes up because 1 second chance to penetrate is kind of useless. And then he's got ignore defense to buff himself and buffing himself with increased lightning damage. So he could be a pretty interesting character, probably best reserved or best utilized in Shadowlands, where all those CC effects are going to happen. But it could be pretty interesting, especially if all of his skills are lightning damage typed. So the other 2 characters, Whiplash and Mantis, will be available through bioselectors and dimension chests, so Shadowlands, stuff like that. And then Agent Venom will only be available with the biosub. Then we're getting 5 new uniforms, guys. We don't know how these uniforms change these characters' skills, so I cannot give my final verdict on whether or not they are good or not. I can only judge them based on their uniform bonus. And I have to say, Star-Lord's uniform bonus, while it appears to be good, is kind of bad. Dodge rate 10% is whatever, and it increases his leadership from 45% to 50%. That's really not much. He needs a lot more help to become relevant. Hopefully his skills get lots of changes, iframes, increased damage, AoE, stuff like that. Gamora basically needs the same things. Iframes, more damage, AoE. So her uniform better change a lot of her skills. 30% ignore defense is very good for new players, not as good for veterans who already have potentially 30 or 35% on their cards. But that's okay. We'll have to see just how much it changes. Rocket Raccoon, again, needs a lot of help on his skills, so hopefully he gets a full 5 skill changes from this iteration of his uniform based on his previous one. It looks good, but on a 15-second cooldown, 5% HP heal is really not that great, and it's only a 20% chance to trigger. If he doesn't have a lot of iframes, this uniform is basically useless. Then we have basically the most hyped uniform out of this update, Baby Groot. And this uniform is confirmed to change his typing to speed, as you will see in a picture down below when I scroll down. And then it gives him recovery rate 15%, which is basically nothing. That's not enough to be significant ever. And then it gives him 7% dodge rate. So that's also pretty shit. So these uniform bonuses are pretty crap. Hopefully they change Groot's skills around. We can see from the video at the top of this page that some of his skills have been changed, and there appears to be more than one Groot in some of the screenshots, so we'll have to wait and see. And finally, Sharon Rogers. Wow. Who saw that coming? He's getting a uniform. Ignore target's dodge rate by 20%. This is fantastic for her because she doesn't have a uniform, and she's a very meta character, and now you can upgrade her uniform so she can become even tankier, even stronger than before. Very, very cool stuff. New UI looks kind of interesting. We can see here Groot is a speed character, so we can confirm that he will have 3 different types, which I honestly don't like. We didn't have a speed hero who could heal the group before. Groot was available as combat and universal, and then Ancient One was available as blast. I wish that Netmarble had made the speed character different, but it seems like they don't want to give a lot of characters the healing ability, so they gave it to Baby Groot. Personally, I disagree with it, but whatever. I also don't really like the UI because it doesn't change or doesn't appear to change this page. And this page is the one that struggles and irks me the most, because now that we have almost 120 characters, it means there are 60 columns that you need to scroll through if you're not playing on a computer, and that's kind of frustrating. But we can see an event mission, which seems pretty hype and seems pretty good. Quality of life changes. These are some of the best changes I've ever seen in terms of for the fans, for the players, for the gameplay. So here, when you equip this team, you will see now which skill the character does with the purple team up button. That's fantastic. A lot of people on Reddit were kind of figuring it out through trial and error. Now all of the information will be given to us. In addition to that, it will tell you when the striker will come out, when attacked, when attacking. So that's fantastic. You no longer need to refer to the Reddit for that. In addition, you are going to see the amount of XP on uniforms. That's kind of fluff. You don't really need that. It's kind of useless. And they're also giving a search function in this main tab. Not a lot of people use this main tab, I think. So I think this is kind of a waste. And I think this is just a stopgap until they finally address the issue of this UI and the scrolling function. They need a filter list that you can just touch with little icons, but whatever. And then the 20 biometrics daily, which a lot of people, myself included, are going to buy for Agent Venom, will now tell you which of the characters are exclusive, so you stop picking people like Karnak. The big news from this update, guys, is the new content. Alliance Conquest mode is the new game mode that we're going to be able to play as long as we are in an alliance. I just want to say at the beginning, guys, this is pretty dense, so I'm going to skim through it and give you the important pieces of information and my opinion, so you have the relevant information until we can actually try this out and then get a better feel for it. Now, alliances only need to be level 15 to compete, so I would not recommend trying to jump ship from your alliance if it's only level 15 or 16 and trying to find a level 30 alliance. I don't think that's the way to go, because I think, I could be wrong, but I think you will be paired with other alliances around your level range. So you may be out of your league trying to jump up to a level 30 alliance if you don't have the characters ready for it for Alliance Conquest. So don't be a scumbag, stay in your alliance, and let's just see how this pans out. Basically what it's going to look like is you're going to have a map and you're going to choose a zone to attack When you attack that zone, you're going to have to fight other characters, presumably from other alliances, and then whoever wins will gain control over that zone. So this green alliance, Mobirum 3000, has won this area, and now they are defending it. When you attack, your attacking team, if you win, becomes your defending team. And you can pay some kind of nominal fee to change those teams around, to revive characters, stuff like that. On top of that, your alliance leader will be allowed to spend your alliance tokens, or I think they're called alliance points, which you have been getting hopefully through donations. When you donate gold, it generates alliance points. My alliance has close to 400,000 points right now, so that gives you a pretty good indication of where you can be. And then you can use those mementos, actually the mementos, to buy different buffs potentially for your attack and defenses. Here we can see the defense team, although the word defense is misspelled, and you can set them up. We do see Karnak twice, which is a little bit worrisome to me, also Black Bolt. That means that we're probably going to see a lot of the same teams repetitively, a lot of the meta characters, Dormammu, Odin, Doctor Strange, Thanos, which is again a good reason to stay in your alliance, stay in your lane, and try to fight with fish in your size pond. The one big letdown for me about the Alliance Conquest mode is that it's AI versus AI. So this is exactly like Alliance tournaments, which means that the 20 or 25 so alliances that have been competing in Alliance tournaments have a huge advantage, both in terms of what to expect and team composition, and also things like obelisks. If you want to compete successfully in Alliance Conquest, newsflash, you're going to need invincibility obelisks, I'm guessing. And if you need invincibility obelisks, it's going to cost a lot of crystals to do well in Alliance Conquest. So it might end up being a crapshoot for people who are just outside of the top 16 and who just can't afford that crystal punishment for the obelisks. There's basically two phases. There's a battle phase where you try to conquer land, and then there's a prep phase where you set up your defensive teams with team bonuses and you try to work out your rotations, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of like a multi-team, multi-alliance King of the Hill that's rotating and ongoing. It's very, very cool. I can't wait to see how much of a roster we're going to use. I know that Alliance Tournaments to date hasn't used the full rotation of rosters, but it has included probably close to 40 or 50 different characters at one point or another. So it will be interesting to see just how much of our roster we need to utilize for this and how costly it is. They don't really say the cost. It says here you can restore characters who have been defeated or who have been killed. You can restore them for a nominal fee. If that's crystals, it's going to suck. If it's too much gold, people are going to complain. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm cautiously optimistic. And then you have your rewards page, and you have a lot of Alliance Store XP, and that's probably the biggest takeaway from this. You can really ramp up your Alliance to level 10 in the store to unlock those good rewards if you can place high in Alliance Conquest. Hopefully they're going to unlock more Alliance Store levels as well, because right now there's not a huge incentive to get to level 10 if you're a top 16 or top 50 Alliance. Hopefully they'll have other rewards like gold or black antimatter or something else to compensate us instead of just Alliance Store XP. Then the other huge game mode, World Boss Ultimate, guys, and this is probably my favorite announcement of this update. You're going to be able to play a new world boss, which basically means more content for the live streams, guys. And the world boss basically functions like this. There are 5 different phases, and each phase is going to have a different rule set. So for this phase 1 of Proxima, she's going to remove a buff, or your character removes their buffs when they tag out. So however that is, reflected, if it's just the buffs from your skills or if it's also the buffs from your uniforms and stuff like that, we'll have to see. But as you progress through the phases, of course, the effects of the difficulty are going to increase, and maybe you're going to do less damage, move more slowly, not be able to tag out, progressively lose HP. There's so many different effects, both positive and negative, that they can put on this game mode. I love it. They could even have a timed event where you have 90 seconds to kill the world boss. In addition to those things, guys, we're going to be able to clear the world boss more often. It says here you can enter the mode as many times as you want, although you can only collect the rewards up to 5 times. That's fantastic. I don't need more rewards, Netmarble, but let me keep playing. Let me see how much of my roster I can use against the world boss in one given day. I think that's great. I hope it costs 10,000 gold, but let's be honest, it's probably going to cost at least 10 times that amount. They be greedy for their gold. Then you can see here there's also going to be a world ranking, so you can see how fast you are clearing these world boss ultimate stages. That's pretty cool. There is one part that confuses me, that it says that characters can be used again once more after they have completed the stage. So it sounds like you could just use Doctor Strange from stage 1 to stage 5 against Proxima. We'll have to see how it pans out. We have some additional improvements to the tutorial missions, which are great for new players. So if you know someone who's new to this game, or you know someone who wants to pick it up, encourage them to do so now, because it's probably going to be the easiest time for them to understand the game ever with the new content. A whole bunch of different stuff that they're improving, guys. The store functions are being improved to make it look like there are basically 5 stores within one. That's pretty cool. And then we are getting other improvements, guys. These are probably some of my favorite improvements. When certain conditions are met, guys, you will be able to see certain things happen in the game. I think this is so cool, guys. When you join, for example, a match, or when you're in a story mode mission and it's Captain America, or let's say Iron Man versus Ultron, or Iron Man versus Vision, there might be some special hero-villain interactions, like you can see here. Reminds me of Sokovia. I love this, guys. This is about as close as we're going to get to voice acting in the game. I cannot wait to see just how many interactions they've built into this, how many funny little quirky things. It works with the bosses, it works with the heroes, it works with the strikers that you get, both villain strikers and hero strikers. I think that's fantastic. It's just a small thing. It doesn't impact the gameplay or give you something to actually use as a resource, but it just feels so much more fun when you're actually playing it, and the immersion level is just even deeper, guys. Finally, some characters are getting their models improved. The only one that's important from this list, guys, is Caecilius. He's getting those purple eyes, so get fucking hyped. We're gonna tier 2 Caecilius, of course. And then of these 18 different changes, the most important ones are as follows. Using clear tickets to clear a stage will now reward Shield and Alliance XP. That is hugely important, guys. Now the Shield tickets, the clear tickets are so much more valuable, and using that Shield XP booster is even easier. This is a fantastic quality of life improvement, and it will make it so much easier to grind to level 70. That's great. And then finally, the 1-year anniversary package, if you are the type of person to buy it like me, will be removed and replaced with a new anniversary package. Keep your eyes peeled, not literally, for that, guys, because it might end up being a worse deal, and you might want to stock up on some year 1 anniversary packages before they go out of style. So that is the update, guys. We are getting maintenance 9 hours from the drop of this video, so please make sure you don't have any items deteriorating, bioselectors from Shadowlands, stuff like that. I hope to see you guys all on the live stream on YouTube, and of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.